Greetings, Broadway babies. I'm Emily.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
And we just watched the final episode 6 of Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon!
And we are here to talk about it with you.
Yes.
We've been making a video for every single episode of Schmigadoon, so if you haven't watched those, check it out. They'll be posted all over. This episode didn't have as many Golden Age references and Easter eggs. It was more wrapping up the story that we already had, but it did have a very emotional and heartfelt ending, which is what you want from any musical, really.
It was pretty great. It would have been so easy to mess up that last episode, and it was pitch perfect to me.
The episode is called How We Change.
This is how we change. This is how we change. This is how.
And it starts with another flashback, as usual, going back to 17 hours before Schmigadoon. So Mel and Josh are trying to set up a tent.
and how many fights happen over building tents? I mean, I can relate to this. We've been there. Tents can be very frustrating.
We built a tent once, and I already knew how to build it, so
Yeah.
it's no big deal. So we're brought back into Schmigadoon, and right where we left off, Josh is searching the forest for Carson, who's just found out that he is Emitate's son, not her little brother.
Right, which, of course, can be traumatizing for anyone.
Yeah.
To learn that sort of truth.
Like we said in the last episode, I think this whole arc is kind of pulled from the subtext of The Music Man, which can be implied that Winthrop is Marion's son rather than her brother, as mentioned in the show.
Yep.
But that's a whole other discussion. That's a debate to be had. I really like when he's in the forest how there's kind of the mist everywhere, which I feel like you could just kind of sense the guy off stage in the wings, like, making the fog machine go. But basically, Josh convinces Carson to come down from a tree. He tells him that relationships aren't like playing the kazoo. They take a lot of work. So there's a lot of little lessons being imparted, which I think is pretty common in like the 11 o'clock hour of a Golden Age musical. There's always some character who has to give a lesson, and we kind of see a bunch of these scenes in a row where everyone kind of realizes the truth of the situation. And then Mel wakes up after being ditched by Blurky. She wakes up on the side of the road, and Jorge and his mother have come to fetch her. And Jorge's like, I love you. It's going to be great. You can mold me into the man that, you think I should be.
And the same thing happens with her that happens with Josh, is they're into it sort of, but you can tell in their eyes and their heart that they're really not.
Yeah,
They don't really want that as the ending of this story.
Yeah, so Mrs. Lopez drove the car. He says, Mother,
Yeah.
you're only here because
You can drive.
you could drive. But she asks Mel if she really loves her son, and Mel realizes, no, she doesn't.
Yeah.
And so they hop in the car to go find Josh. Mrs. Lopez gives kind of a, you got to follow your heart speech. Again, it could be Mother Superior from The Sound of Music or any of those kind of characters. Like, you've got to do the thing, child. You've got the love in you. Aunt Eller from Oklahoma, any of them.
And what a testament to the writing, that you can have this character who I don't even think she's had a line in this series.
She's had lines.
She had a couple lines, I guess, yeah, but very small part, but like she comes through with this profound wisdom at the perfect time in the story.
Yeah, she says, love is something you have to choose to believe in every day, and I think that's very true.
Yep.
So Mel is going to find Josh, but Josh is about to walk over the bridge with Emitate and Carson, and they're all going to go to New York City. And Carson asks Josh if there's going to be snow, or if they're going to be snow. And he flashes back to him and Mel in the snow outside the Lonely Room Theater. And then he says, will there be candy? And then flashes back to Mel and Josh with the vending machine.
Touch.
Everything
Nice
has
touch.
a pinkish hue to the flashbacks. I really like that Josh doesn't try to walk over the bridge with Emma and Carson.
Yeah.
He realizes that he loves Mel and he has to find her.
Yeah, he makes a choice for himself. It's not up to some magical, mystical, experience walking over a stupid bridge.
And then we get to the final major set piece of the show and of the episode. We're back in the town square, and it is now time to vote by a raising of hands over who will be the mayor.
Yeah.
Mildred Layton or Aloysius Menlove. Ladies, can I get a cackle? So looks like Mildred Layton is gonna win.
Oh, she's got it. It's gonna be a landslide.
And Mel comes to the square. She asks, did I miss a song?
Oh, great.
And then Josh gets to the square, and then we have our first big song of the episode. It's really important and sweet because it's Josh's big song. Mel kind of set up a few episodes ago the kind of rule of musical theater, which is, when the emotions are too big, you sing.
Yep.
And then when they're too big to sing, you dance.
And
this number kind of exemplifies that.
And it was the first number that started a cappella. Like, he just started singing.
Mel gives a big speech to him, which is really sweet, and she's crying and he's crying, and then he starts to sing, and then, the underscoring kind of picks up after he started, and the song is called You Make Me Wanna Sing. It felt like an older than a Golden Age musical song. It felt very Rodgers and Hart or Cole Porter or Gershwin. It felt like something that Fred Astaire would be singing to Ginger Rogers in a movie. It just sounded like an old jazz standard, which I thought was really sweet, and it had the structure of an old jazz standard. And then they started a dance number, which again, very Fred and Ginger. They were doing little grapevines and lifts, and it was very beautiful. Yeah, it was really sweet to hear Keegan finally sing.
And what a talent. And we know, and if we could turn this camera around, you'd see I have a Key and Peele poster up in this very studio. And the reason is those guys are so talented.
He's looking down on us as one of the players from the East.
'Cause the Eastern school's gonna beat them fools from the West.
Okay, don't you know?
But so Keegan-Michael Key, obviously this mega talent, and he really showed it in this episode. He was so, but like you mentioned, they were both kind of on the verge of tears for a couple scenes in a row there, and you really felt the weight, the gravity that this character was going through, and literally changing.
Yeah, and they showed that they're on the same page by having them, sing in a little harmony at the end and then kind of ending on the same note in unison. So, and then we get to the scene which is very, very important in a Golden Age musical, the scene where you wrap everything up. So it very much started kind of like the end of The Music Man, like with Charlie Cowell going, this guy is a thimble rigger and a swindler, and you all shouldn't be listening to him. And then Marion comes out and goes, don't you think your lives are better now that Harold Hill has been in River City? So it had that vibe. Emma was like, they've changed our lives. And then they all start kind of listing off kind of the big confessions. Reverend Layton comes out as gay, and he's in love with Menlove, and they have a little kiss. And Anne Harada finally arrives, and she says, of course I knew you were gay.
Of course,
it's fine.
I understand.
We're gonna be fine.
Glad that he's finally telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's that small little thing.
Mildred Layton tries to call Carson a bastard, and he says, you're a bastard! More admissions from the crowd. I like that the innkeeper said he's writing a one-man show about his father's death, so I thought that was relatable content. Pete likes getting injured, so he likes the attention.
He does.
Possibly
He likes
for other reasons.
Right.
Tveit is tired of being a rapscallion, and then finally we get the big reveal that the gal who was pregnant, living in the mountains with her seaman boyfriend, is actually Mildred Layton's daughter, so she has some skeletons in her closet too. And by the end, Mildred Layton starts freaking out at the crowd and screaming at them, and then right after that they're like, okay, let's take a vote. So completely flipped, and Mayor Menlove is reelected as the first out anything in Schmigadoon. Mildred falls to the floor crying, and that's when Mel reaches her hand out to her and lifts her up, and then we get to the finale sequence, which is called How We Change. This was really cool because this is the first and only song in the show that sounds like it's from a musical written anytime from like the 70s on. So the first part of the song had a very modern musical feel. It had that feeling of all the actors standing around on the stage looking down at the lead characters and singing in a really, really kind of tight unison. And they even had a moment where each character like stepped forward to sing a line by themselves. And that first part felt, gosh, I could think of so many musical theater finales that kind of start like that. Like Rent's finale kind of starts like that, or like moving into the 2000s. Avenue Q or Seussical. So many of them. Once on This Island, very Aarons and Flaherty, very modern pop musical feel. In the Heights finale is kind of like that too. But then the second half, it gets to kind of the gospel breakdown where everyone has tambourines. Ariana DeBose starts riffing, and then it sounds literally like Day by Day from Godspell.
Yeah.
This is how we change. Reimagine, rearrange. See ourselves through others' eyes. Re-examine, realign. See the more clearly. Day by day. Day by day. Day by day by day by day.
Any modern, optimistic, encouraging kind of family-ish musical from the past 30 or 40 years kind of has a finale that sounds like Schmigadoon's, but it doesn't sound like a Golden Age finale. So to me, it sounds like there's potential for a transition. So on the one hand, it's the town of Schmigadoon moving forward, right? They're changing, they're progressing as people, they're growing, they're able to move their musical taste beyond the 40s and 50s to more kind of progressive ideas. But then the episode ends with all of them kind of getting Mel and Josh to the bridge, and they're about to walk up, and then it ends. And so this tells me that there's potential for a second series because we don't see if they get back. We don't know. So my dream, since they ended it with like a Day by Day Godspell kind of number, my dream would be to have them cross the bridge into the 1970s, like 1970s New York City. So like really dirty and grungy. Everything is a concept show. Everything is like minimalist, and a lot of characters auditioning to be in a musical and talking about their experiences auditioning for a musical, or like Fosse Hands. That's what I want to see. I want to see Mel and Josh in that world.
Wow.
They ended it with kind of a gospel version of Schmigadoon, of the title song, which I really loved, because you have to do it. You have to have a reprise of kind of the biggest song in the show, kind of the show's mission statement at the end. You need it for the bows.
Yeah, and even like what you just said, the fact that the type of music, the actual style of the song changed for this last song to be more contemporary, more felt like a bridging the gap of styles. And they ended this show with that, which even subconsciously for people that might not even realize, they might not even notice the difference. If you feel the difference, you feel things are changing.
So it was a good episode. It was a great way to end the show. I really liked it as a whole. I think everyone involved with it really just loves these old musicals. I think it's really easy to brush off kind of Golden Age shows as something you do in high school, as something old-fashioned and not worthy of still being done. But it's clear that the people who made the show, Cinco Paul, Candario, Chris Catelli, like everyone involved, all the performers, like love these kind of musicals and can parody them because they love them. So I thought that was really cool. And I would love to see this become maybe some kind of anthology series. I can't imagine a second series would be called, maybe it would be called Schmigadoon. I think it would have to be some kind of silly play on whatever musical you're parodying. So like if you're doing 60s musicals, you could do Schmello Schmolly or something, or Schmushmorris line, or I don't know.
Wow, Schmushmorris line. Yeah. We can work on that one.
So that's it. There weren't really many Easter eggs in this episode. It was more kind of just tying up all the storylines and giving everyone kind of one last shot. Clearly, some of them were not on the set at the same time. Getting those close-up shots of Tveit.
But then Tveit was there.
Dove Cameron,
at least one of the times
they were there for that last walk
yeah.
up the bridge, I guess. Dove Cameron might be the new Glinda, so, get it, girl. I really love this show. If you haven't watched it, give it a shot. I don't know why you'd be watching this breakdown of it if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't, really give it a shot, and maybe it'll help you look at those old musicals in a new way. Maybe it'll help you appreciate Rodgers and Hammerstein more, or The Music Man, or any of those really great old shows. There were certainly more they could have parodied. They didn't even touch My Fair Lady or Annie Get Your Gun, really, or definitely not West Side Story. So there are more if they wanted to kind of go in chronological order, like maybe through the late 50s and early 60s, they could do that too. There's a lot. They didn't even touch Gypsy. I'm just saying.
And
there was no Mama Rose character. There could be a Mama Rose somewhere.
Yeah,
So.
and maybe this would inspire other people too. It's very inspiring, and congratulations again to the writers and the producers. I mean, it really was stars aligning for me because I had no idea what to expect going into this, and I just think it's a 10 out of 10. They nailed it. I hope that they write more. But the fact that this can stand alone as its own work of art, we're going to have this forever, and it's really exciting. Thank you for that. Thank you for caring so much, because you killed it.
All right, everybody. So we hoped you like our Schmiganalyses. We have lots of other videos on Stealing Focus about musical theater history and musical theater reviews. So make sure you check those out and make sure you're subscribed. And hopefully this won't be the last time we do a Schmiganalysis.
That's right. Schmiganalysis would still hold up if the title was changed.
Yeah. Bye, Broadway babies.
We'll see you later.